This is iRacing.
The second half of the season now kicks itself into life, and it is one of these championships that looks like it's about to go to the wire. But after last week at the tricky triangle of Pocono, the question is now going to be asked, who manages what here around this circuit? It's Oulton Park, no chicanes, 49s only in your Grand Prix legends. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as we tick ourselves in to the month of May. My name is Jake Sperry. Along with me for today's action is the ever-dependable Craig King. Daniel Costello is in the director's chair today. He is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard as we find ourselves not too far away from crew out there at this moment in Cheshire, and who looks to try and get themselves up. It takes a whole crew of people to be as fast as you possibly can. But if you are the fastest out there, or even if you haven't seen what Oulton Park is all about, here's a little track guide that will give you the understanding of the ins and outs of this fabled national circuit.
Welcome to Oulton Park Circuit. This British track to the southeast of Liverpool is a staple in the UK club racing scene, but has also hosted series as high level as Formula One a few times. At least with a small asterisk next to those events, since they were non-championship rounds. The history and the lore of the venue is as unique as the layout itself. But that layout is more than just the international circuit this place is known for. An incredible 8 different versions can be run, but they all range between 1.5 to 2.5 miles in length. It's not exactly a long lap around here. What it lacks in that realm, it more than makes up for in bumps and hills. On top of that, Oulton Park offers some very fast corners, so you certainly won't get bored. Turns like Island Bend, Knickerbrook, and Druids can be utterly fearsome depending on which chicanes are at it. But even the slower corners often involve blind crests or kinked entries, making passing a very difficult prospect. In modern day, the place is mainly visited by touring cars, GT cars, motorcycles, and Formula 3. But here on iRacing, it's quite popular with the vintage community. Needless to say, this is a track that carries on the British tradition of fast, old-school style circuits that challenge and thrill drivers. It'll no doubt be a blast for both our competitors and fans today.
So, with this being a track that sets up and says, look, we battle with everything we've possibly got. The key today is the run out of the Shell Oils corner at turn 5 and jumping all the way to turn 7 at Knickerbrook, over the top of the hilltop and into a very fast and fraught right-hander at 150 kilometers an hour. This is a bravery circuit now, and it feels old school for these old school cars.
Of course, it's old school. Used in 1961 up until 1972. In fact, you go a little bit older as they had some renovations, and it started in 54 with this layout without the Hislop chicane, or of course the now infamous Knickerbrook chicane. But we're not using those today. And while it is flat out though, Jake, you've got to remember these cars, they don't know what downforce is. So they're going to have to be careful through that section because the hilltop's going to be straight. Knickerbrook's going to be a little bit of a kink. And then up that clay hill, that's going to be tough as well, because one thing that this track always catches drivers out with, elevation changes. Everything is on a slope around this track. I think the flattest piece of ground is the start-finish line.
Very much correct. And so with that in mind, if you're looking around here at Oulton Lake and how much they have to battle with, this is a very tough circuit to get correct. But championship, a very interesting point of contention. Drop round slowly being applied, and Aldris Valenterius is 15 to the good over Topi Courtaniemi. It's then Nicola Cocchi and Togo Hisada third and fourth. They're split by just 4 points between them, as Seb Tixier is still very much in that picture in fifth. Kevin Verbruggen finds himself then in sixth, with Jorge Nieva 7th and Leo Sequeiro 8th. It then leads to Gary Ho, who is 9th, and John Olsen a little ways away, rounding out the top 10 of the F1 standings. But for those who don't have as much iRacing, Craig, they've got the F2 standings to go and battle for.
The F2 for the sub-3K drivers, and Victor Alonso Diaz has the championship lead with drop weeks now into effect. Doug Cloud in second, not here this week. It'll be a drop week for Doug. Andreas Heck will be in third, with Tobias Henry in fourth. Alex Graham will take fifth, with Andre Bruno in sixth. Mats Linden 7th, just ahead of Bo Poulter in 8th. Brandon White 9th, and Campbell Wallace 10th. 2 splits today. We won't be seeing some of these drivers, I will be saying. We will be seeing the Nations Championship, however.
We will see that in battle, and for the moment, the work of Audrius Valenteus for Ukraine puts him on top, with Finland second and Spain in third. A tie between Japan and the Netherlands, who are 4th and 5th, with the United States in 6th, and Hong Kong finding themselves in 7th position, just 8 points back of the US. France find themselves in 8th, and it is a tie for 9th between Italy and the dream team of Sao Tome and Principe, being repped by John Olsen, as we get ourselves then an understanding of today's running. A 24-lap race here today, Craig, but 24 laps will go by somewhat quickly.
Yeah, you're looking at about an 87, almost 90-second lap time around here, being there's no chicanes. And of course, it is an open setup, so use the iRacing baseline. Use a setup you've made yourself, or use one provided by the community. But if you crash, your day is done. There is no spare car out there for the drivers today. A drive-through at 17 incident point. Disqualification when you hit 25. I always like to say it, Jake, especially at Oulton Park, with how much you can attack these corners, we may be seeing that drive-through.
We very much could be, and so each to their own. They will know that qualifying is possibly the most critical thing about today. Getting a time up on the top of the board is going to make all of the difference. Togo Hisada by 0.08 of a second jumps up to pole currently, that 1:26.0, mastering a lovely time out there. But car number 1 is currently out there at the moment as Jim Shedlick, that's the name that rolls back the years, up into 3rd position. Valenteus, first lap, only goes 3rd, but needs 0.02 of a second. You think he can manage it?
Yes. It's Valenteus. He's the gold standard for a reason. He's won all but one of the races this season, and the one race he lost was a mistake by himself. But here's Gary Ho right now as we go and see this fantastic lineup, and you can see as he goes through, he's got the VR headset on, and he's got that massive wheel, and probably a little bit smaller than what they would use back in the day in these Lotuses. But as he now comes through to the final few corners, it's going to be to Lodge, and this is the corner that catches everybody out because it tightens almost like you're going back on yourself through the deer leap over the top of the hill. Gary Ho will be at 26.996 and puts him up to 14th.
Well, 14th will be only something he is looking at. You've got the likes of Jorge Nieva out there, and Valenteus absolutely brutal through Knickerbrook corner there, attacking with everything he's got over the clay hill, and now working over through Druids here. Double apex right, you've got to slow it right down, get the power off of the exit, and you're only reliant on mechanical grip. They don't know what this style of grip is out there of aerodynamics, as Nieva goes 6th quickest. Hervé Trengarade to the top on a 26 flat, but can Audrius just knock this back? He can, and he says, well, beat this, 25.8. Absolutely monstrous time out there. Trengarade in second, but there's still one driver who could upset the apple cart, Craig, and it is Jorge Nieva, and he'll just have enough time to do so.
He's just got enough time, but I'm worried there through the Shell Oils corner. Probably a bit too wide there because it is a little bit of a camber on that corner, and going around the outside is very tough to do. But on the full speed, and just look at that, even just over that ridge there as they came over the hill, that they just started to lose the car. And Jorge, more sliding as well. really pushing the limits. And with these new suspensions, Jake, going over these hills, these little bumps here, we may see these cars go a little bit more than 2 wheels off the ground. Not again best of corners there through it. Got one more to go through to Lodge Corner. He's got 23 seconds, should make it in time.
They should. And so keep an eye out on it with 15 seconds left on the clock. He is going to be able to get up and over, and Nieva crosses the line, and it doesn't count. So that is not good enough. He will stay exactly where he is in 7th position. The field now set here at Oulton Park for this 7th round of 12 in the championship. A lap of magic. Then that is set by car number 1. He has been all dominant. He's actually got a win as a drop round at the moment as Aldrius Valenterius, but he's got the old guard here today looking to challenge because it's Hervé Trengarade who is beside him today, the Norwegian on the front row. You've then got Togo Hisada and Nicola Koki 3rd and 4th. Jim Shedlick starts in 5th, and Topi Courtaniemi work to do in 6th position. Jorge Nieva is there in 7th as Ricardo Ruiz is 8th, as Kevin Verbruggen 9th, and Aliens dubbed Seb Tixier in 10th.
Well, behind Seb Tixier will be Laus Olsen in 11th, and Glenn Becker will take in 12th. Leo Sequeiro will take 13th, with John Olsen in 14th. Then Gary Ho we saw in 15th. Pedro Timiladri will take 16th. Gary Quellen will be 17th, with Ilka Costa-Salo 18th. Michael Zabala will take 19th. Josephine Becker, the last of the time qualifiers. I'll run the last 3 down. Ricardo Martinez, Jason Clapper, and Robert Plumley will start in those positions. Not to the lap time. That's on iRacing.
Yeah, so Ricardo Espinea will be ahead of Jason Clapper and Robert Plumley as they set themselves up ready then on the grid. They will note today it's a 26-degree track temperature, which is pretty much in the dog walking range at this point. So who can find a way around the paddock and find themselves best in show as far as this one set. Short run to turn number 1, but still a big enough grid that you got cars all the way back here to Jason Clapper and Robert Plumley, who are starting up on the Deer Leap, so they will have a really big launch and a disadvantage compared to some of the others. Laus Olsen was one of the last cars then to get up on the grid. Let's get ourselves set then. 24 laps worth of racing action here today. Aldrius on the pole, and we are off. What a start by Togo Hisada. Immediately pulls alongside there as it's Dusty off of the get-go into turn number 1 of Old Hall Corner. A push to the outside then from Jim Shedlick, but they get clean, and immediately Hisada is going to harry and harass down the avenue into the Cascade. And now at turn 3, how's the drive off the exit? It's stellar from Valenterius, and now settle yourself down in. We've got rhythm to find.
Now you got to find the rhythm, feel the vibes. It's going to be some cool runnings out there for some of these drivers. Jorge Nieva not having the best of stuff, but he's doing all right. Jim Shedlick down 2 already, as is Trengarade, as well at the back is John Olsen. Cotasalo down 3. Everyone getting away clean, though. That's the important thing. As now we come to this hill, the long straight. This is going to be a slipstream battle near the end of the race, but look how they come over that crest again. We talked about the jumps. Those cars are feeling really light when those tires recontact on the ground.
Oh yeah, they feel like featherfall out there as they try and work through. And Courtaniemi seeing that this is a national style circuit with all of the lumps and bumps and tricks and tools of the trade that makes life very, very difficult to go and deal with. But now as you set yourself into play, Courtaniemi knows it's about timing the runs, giving yourself platforms to go out there and attack. Ricardo Ruiz, for example, someone who is under pressure right now. Kevin Verbruggen trying to stay in that lead group, and at a short circuit like this, draft not as important, but that long straight over the top, you still got to be within about 0.6 of a second to even have a sniff of being close. 0.3 to go and get the move. So staying with the car in front, you're waiting for it to snap. That's a wide line by Verbruggen, but he does, by Courtaniemi, but he does very well to get the rotation through the car. There is Verbruggen in 9th, still working.
Still working is Kevin, and not a lot of overtakes here between 8th and 13th. They haven't made any overtakes out there. They're just hoping to work together here, and well, look at that. Verbruggen almost getting to the back of Ruiz. Ruiz taking a bit too much speed off that corner, and again, it's that camber at Shell Oils that catches a lot of drivers out, but because he couldn't get the run on the exit, because he had to slow down, Kevin can't come here. These cars do have a little bit of slipstream. They get a little bit of power when you punch a hole through. It's not as strong as you would see on like a modern-day Formula car, or a Skip Barber, or a GT car, but they still get some sort of slipstream and power through the clean air. Just not going to be seeing it this far away right now, and it's also early days because they're all together. Look at it, the top 10 all in a nice long line.
Top 23 after the opening lap, split by just 10 seconds. Mikel Zavala has run into troubles down at Knickerbrook Corner, so he's the first one who's had a moment. He ran up the back of Pedro Temaladri and then spun it of his own accord as Valenteas gets the bus lap. Here's Mikel Zavala on the brakes. He's overcommitted in, sideways anyway, tags that DFV Cosworth engine, and ultimately the looseness goes for a spin, and lucky he wasn't mown over as he went through, by the looks of things, by Robert Plumley.
Yeah, I think Robert was aware of that, probably also saw the moment you start turning in, you can see the rear start kicking out, and if you've got a little bit of expertise in these cars, you know where the limit is, and if you see a car just fishtailing too much, you know that car has gone. So I think he was keeping his eye out there and making sure. And that was a bit of a shame there for Zavala. Probably could carry that speed through the corner, but just with the driver in front as well, catching him out. And I think a late moment adjustment in these cars, and you can't really do that mid-corner, just let him go as Oulton continued to push. Trangaré with a moment in front of him. He's had to get out of the throttle right away. He'll lose one, he'll lose two to Nieva. He won't let Jim get by, but that could have been a big heart-in-the-mouth moment there. He almost found the barrier.
Well, Hervé was having to push to try and keep the same level. He just pushed slightly wide, the back fish-tailed out. He then came fully across the circuit to the other side and got more grass. So that was a case of a lot of cartoon logic to try and hold on together there at that point. And for Hervé Trangaré, it puts him back now into 6th position. He's now -4 for the day as Valenteas another fastest lap in the back pocket, inching further away from Togo Hisada as it currently stands. Down into the Cascade, it's now Courteniemi under pressure from Jorge Nieva. So Nieva is really sitting down and saying, look, I want to move on up to 4th place, and I've got the pace to do so. Tixier almost islanded at the moment past the island corner and now into the Shell Oils corner. He's got to be careful he doesn't fall off the back here and backwards into the clutches of Laust Olsen's train.
He's still there. As we're seeing now with Seb, another VR user. A lot of the drivers using the historics like the VRs, and don't blame them. He is out of the line now, and he's trying to save that car, trying to hold on. And I've been looking, and I did notice Beatrice was mentioning it as well in our chat. This is, I believe, the first time that these cars have come to Oulton Park since the 3D curves. I've driven around here in an open wheeler this week. It's dangerous, Jay. These curves are not nice to something with grooved tires like this. So for these drivers, you have to be careful not to use all the curving here, as Leo in this battle for 11th all the way down to, I want to say, 16th. And they just look how much some of them are not touching those curves because they're just a little bit too much raised. The moment you get on the throttle, you kind of lose out.
Yeah, and you saw that with Glenn Becker trying to put the power down through just a lazy left-hander that in most cars out there isn't really a corner that you worry about. In these ones, every little rotation of the steering wheel is going to be a nightmare to deal with, and you're just trying to find the daydream on the other side as you work on through. Already on to lap 5, it has been a very nice and contained race at the front of this pack. Everyone, I think, understanding in a race like this one, Craig, when you've got to play between the lines, everyone colours in with a lot of responsibility. Jason Clapper, it's not often that you get to say this about a driver like him, only +3.
We have a saying, the Jason Clapper special. He always starts at the back. We've always wondered what would happen if he qualifies. Well, usually he goes up at this stage, probably about 5 positions or so, and he works his way up. It's only 3 today, and he's just struggling out there with the car, with the effect. And we didn't mention the temperature, 27 Celsius, 80 Fahrenheit. Wind is a non-factor today, but it does show I was just looking behind. Clapper went a little bit wide in this battle, as Martinez also trying to work from the back of the field. And they're the 2 highest earners in terms of starting at the back. but now look at them. Where do they look for moves here? Everyone's getting a toe, and he tries to get on the throttle, and he's losing it again through the daily. And oh dear, that could have been dangerous.
It very much could do. And speaking of danger, they're all trying to sit back on this and say, look, this is what we're all about. We take danger, we drive these cars because they're difficult to drive, because they're fun to drive. The challenge is there. Heart rate monitor is there for Glenn Becker, currently doing a calm 127 BPM at the moment. He gets a few, I would say, crossovers out there. Does Glenn realises he's in a big scrap? He gets pressured by Leo Sequeira, for example. That could easily rise up 140, 150.
Yeah, but I'm also just looking where the peaks are. I'm not going to try and start analysing someone's heart rate monitor. It's for those tight corners at the start of the lap, and look at it, nice and calm right now as he's in the front. And what happens when he just gets a little bit of a rest here through the Knickerbrook corner, and you probably see it just dip a little bit here, and now he goes up, and this is always tough up this hill, up Clay Hill, because of the fact of where the line is. Not a lot of braking markers. Remember, as you were saying, Jake, it's an old school track, so braking markers, what are they? Where's the 3, 2, and 1 marker? You don't get it in these types of tracks. You do on some corners, but you just have to really start to use the scenery to find those braking points, and I'm guilty of it this week, Jacob. Tom racing here, I can't find braking markers out there.
I've never been able to find a braking marker at Oulton Park. It's a track that has loads of corners that invite you in and then say, no, wrong, and basically spits you out the other side. Courteniemi under pressure as we're on board with Nieva is behind. Trengarade slides out wide, and that's going to offer up the change for Jim Shedlick to get through. And here comes another one. There's Ricardo Ruiz. There's Kevin Verbruggen. I think Hervé's understanding, I don't have the confidence to make the moves that I need to. It's a case where everybody else, I think, does have the confidence, and Trengarade is trying to find himself now with the ability to just put the power down properly.
I don't want to say this, but it feels like he's overdriving the car. Pushed a little bit wide there through Shell Oil's corners. Look at this replay of what happened for him coming down into Cascades. Does he just cut too much of the inside curve? No, if anything, he doesn't even find that curve. But again, because of these 3D curves, Jake, they've almost got rumble strips on top of the curves on the inside there. You don't even want to go near them. I feel like he's almost allergic to them because that was a bit too far. Got onto the marbles, and when you get on the marbles, well, there's no grip out there.
Absolutely not. Roadrunner is certainly not getting the pace necessary at this stage, and so there'll be a lot more to do as we are a third of the way heading towards now in this race. It's too clear in Valenteus and Hysada, but Hysada had a very poor Old Hall corner where he tipped the car in and just couldn't get it to bite through the middle, and suddenly the gap's out to 0.7 of a second here. Nicola Cocchi finds himself in third with Courteniemi and Nieva then next, and it's then this group of 5 that then follows, making up the rest of the top 10, jumping over a section that I don't think I've ever seen a car jump. That's straight off the road for Hervé Trengarade. What were we saying? Struggling to find corners.
Yeah, and I wonder as well, did he just forget to turn in? Was that dirty air? Not entirely sure. I'll tell you what actually didn't help him. Just as he had to start to turn in there, the car caught a bump. It caught a bump, and the car just started veering to the right, and it started turning with some right-hand tyres, just clipping the grass there, and he lost that grip. So now he's lost his battle here. Tixier behind Verbruggen and Ruiz. As Verbruggen up 1, Ruiz up 1, Tixier up 1. They're all capitalising on that mistake. More mistakes. Ruiz going a bit too wide there through the Druids corner into the bridge they'll go. But where is there a move here for Kevin? Nothing there as they come to the lodge.
No, couldn't quite get enough of it here, and it allows Tixier to just watch on in from behind, and this is where you're getting the dynamic of I can or I can't. Every straight is 100 meters too long to go and get things sorted. There's troubles for Ricardo Espinella Martinez, who is just limping through the final corner after he's had a massive hit into the back of John Olsen in the Sao Tome and Principe car. So they've had a big tangle together out there on track, and it was all because Espinella caught the grass on his run to the lodge.
And that's going to happen because of those undulations. This car, with the new changes, it's a little bit feisty. a little bit more feisty when you go through jumps and everything. Let's look at this replay. You're going to see it. There's that little bit unsettling. He's going to look for it. Oh, he's even got it on the grass. He doesn't even know that he's close to the grass. Just trying to keep a line that the car allows him to follow. And just the tiniest of margins on the grass is enough for the grip to say sayonara. And that is so unfortunate there. A total unforced error.
So those mistakes are going to be really difficult to come by between those two, as Topi Courtiniemi now is lining this one up, hoping he can attack the Martini machine of Nicola Cocchi and jump up into third. This feels like another one of these days of damage limitation, because he is now in this group, and the group is 2 seconds off the back of Togo, and he's not even here. Topi Courtiniemi got the license to go out there and attack. He's going to be on a very short leash here with Jorge Nieva. Oh, and again, he just slides it into the corner in a way that only he can. He's almost going drift spec out there like it's Drift Masters at Vialunga by comparison to what he's supposed to be doing at the Cascades.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this car has now turned into the drift car for everybody, but this is how they have to drive it. Just a little bit more safer. Well, a little bit more safer, a little bit more aggressive, and have to be a little bit more safer when it comes to the movement of the steering wheel. And you can see the micro adjustments from Jorge, and then quickly a sharp to the left as the car goes. Look at that bump. Every time I see them through the hilltop there, Jake, that one bump is catching the drivers out, but they can't do a Monza and go to the other side of the road because they'll be out of position to brake for Knickerbrook. They have to accept the cars doing that, and look at the early turning there from Courtiniemi. That's the earliest I've seen anyone at the moment from Druids.
Yeah, he's really got that pinned down on the line, and Nieva just can't do much to follow with it, and Nicola Cocchi will realise second half of the lap is where he's got the ability to attack. First half, not so much. So that's setting itself up as a scrap at the moment, and they'll be noting this and trying to do their notes on where a driver's good and where a driver's not, because right now at a circuit as difficult as this, you might need 2, 3, 4 laps to prey on whatever weakness you find.
And this could be big time for the championship, because Courtiniemi did not have a good result last week at Pocono, and now he could be getting another race that he doesn't get a podium, and he had to look at what he does. And you think to yourself, we're close to where Crew Alexandria are playing. They're looking to play spoiler this today on the final day of the season. I wonder, is Nicola Cocchi and Jorge Nieva trying to play spoiler? Can Togo Hisada play spoiler? Because only one man's beaten the gold standard this season, the 49th, and it's Courtiniemi who's stuck in 4th.
I'll tell you what, Togo Hisada probably wishes he had a spoiler on the back of his Lotus 49, give him some extra downforce and say, look, I can get a lot closer to Aldrius Valenterius out there at this point. So he's trying to do everything possible to keep this one close, and we know how good Togo Hisada is. When he sets his mind to it, he's one of the best classics runners in the world. He's been a champion in this car. Aldrius is a cut above the rest in terms of what we've seen over previous seasons. Now here's Seb Tixier up in 8th place. He has been able to dispatch then of Ricardo Ruiz, and now is looking at Kevin Verbruggen's 7th place, thinking, you know what, I'd quite like a piece of that, but ultimately, no, you may not have a slice of cake. You must wait until you finish your main meal.
But we're in the UK here. You need your tea. It's picnic time. Look, you got the campsite right there on the left. See, the cars all parked up there.
Oh,
People will be
Toppy.
wanting their tea. Toppy's had a moment as well. It's not going well for Courtiniemi. Just trying to attack into these corners, trying to keep up the pressure. Almost went into the back of Nicola Cocchi. Had a great run through Cascades, but in these cars, you can't even make that through Island.
He nearly got to the inside, and he very much had to back out of it because it was too much of a go to say, look, I'll do it. Togo Hisada now outside of a second. He hasn't had the best start to the lap and knows that that gap has now suddenly just truncated itself out. He was wide at the Cascades, and now he fights hard to get back within 1 second and has managed so with Valenteas pushing Plumley back down here. A battle for 21st and 22nd positions now as they've gone past Espinay and Martinez, who is trying to bring that one home. This has been a really tall order run and not the sort of circuit I would have thought halfway through this race we'd have no retirements.
No retirements even then, because Plumley managing to get past Martinez, even Josephine Becker getting past because of a mistake going down Cascade by Martinez. So that's the only place that you're finding people making overtakes today. It's just a mistake. And talking of mistakes, I see Glenn Becker. There he is. He's made a mistake. And that's a weird one, but he's actually gone into the back of Lars Olsen and checked the heart rate. Well, he made the mistake. It looks pretty calm.
Well, it's dropping. I think he was under a big pressure situation. He's realised, the pressure's gone, and so too then does the valve, as he was right up there on the back of Lars Olsen, pushing into Old Hall Corner, and you can see the difference here on the brakes. Can I get away with it? No, it's a tiny tap. It won't damage the front, but it's enough to damage the pride in a few places.
And also just a knock off the, like Lando Norris said, what did you lose? I lost my talent. I don't think you'll be worried too much about that, but he gets a chance to just have a breather now. It was very tense in there because, look at it, even now it's 7th, he just hit the grass. Jay, we know that this track is tough for overtaking. We've seen overtakes in races here. We know what can happen here. When was the last time you saw a race in the 49s where overtaking was pretty much non-existent? Apart from Ove going backwards, Togo made his one move on the start, and everybody else that's gone down has gone down because of mistakes. There's not really been many on-track overtakes here today.
No, and you expect it from a circuit like this where you have to earn an overtake, and these cars, dare I say it right now, on a national circuit like this one rather than an international field, as speak of the devil, and you shall get. Side by side for third. Here is Topi Courtaniemi working for that inside line, but Nicola is going to get the inside here for the Shell Oils corner. It's back though. Big high line allows for a big run off of the exit here. You put the power down quick enough, so Courtaniemi might have a run to Nickerbrook now. Up the hill, closing, and now's going to get the chance to move to the inside as they battle side by side over the top. Cocky everywhere over the middle of the circuit, and this is how hard you have to fight just for one place. Yeva's got eyes on it. Brilliant stuff side by side. Courtaniemi doesn't quite get what he needs, but if that doesn't get you a move, what does?
I'm absolutely amazed there. Nicola decided to be the last of the late breakers, and that says a lot in these cars for Nickerbrook. And then the moment you went up Clay Hill, the elevation change from the camber of the hill just stopped the line there for Topi, and he knew he had to back out of it. But the pressure will be on now. Cocky knows that Topi is getting this fantastic run out of Cascades, and he just puts the pressure on, but taking it calm right now. Wonder if he's overheated the tires a little bit, tried to cool it down. He's going to look for an opportunity again out of Cascades, but that's a great run up through the Shell Oils corner, up to the hilltop, and I think he's going to try it again.
Well, Nicola Cocky's over-driving at the Cascades, and that's what's opening up and inviting this chance then through the different driving styles being shown. Aggressive on entry, plays aggressive on exit, and exit will always get a run for the next corner, but entry will always cover off the line for that next corner. So imagine it, it's unstoppable force meets immovable object, and Cocky and Courtaniemi, I think, are stuck with only what they can have. And again, another little search over to the right-hand side. You're not going to lunge from there. Not a chance at this stage of the race. Topi Courtaniemi is seeing the fact that his chance of getting big important points in this championship is dwindling, and it's fading here, and it's not by him not being a quick driver, as there is a mistake. Can it be just covered off? It is at the 11th hour, but he will lead a half chance under the Warwick Bridge here to Lodge Corner, and it won't be a look down the inside. Nicola Cocky's doing a great job here. Topi Courtaniemi knows he's stuck in the fly trap. He needs to find a way out.
When was the last time we saw Courtaniemi with clear air lap times? Because they're almost, well, I'm not saying almost, they are a few tenths slower this time by than Valenteas, so they're able to just keep the pace up. But Does he have the pace to keep attacking? We know that he does usually, but it was one of the worst qualifying results he's had all season. Stands the oval. Was that a twitch of the throttle there from Cocky? It was. Coulton's going to look for an opportunity, put the pressure on again. How many more times can Nicola Cocky cope with this pressure? And look at Toppy. If this was any other car, a modern-day car with downforce and modern-day brakes, he'd be trying to send that car in. Well, these are old cars. What's ABS? What's traction control? What are brakes even? He's just going to have to do it the old way. Great run, though, through the hilltop. And if he can get this stuck here at Knickerbrook and Cocky decide, I can't fight it this time.
Yeah, because he'll try and get the run off the exit, but that's perfect from Toppy Courtaniemi, and that is a hard graft overtake out there as now Verbruggen in trouble at Knickerbrook as he drops down the order, running wide. He got a great run over Jim Shedlick and overcooked it and couldn't do what Toppy could.
Yeah, and also just as he came to the braking point, car went over a bump again. Just caught him out there, and I wonder if that bump also just ruined trying to slow the car down. I've just looked at Togo Husada and Ricardo Ruiz now having a moment there through Druitt. That's a rare one as well. Husada started to catch up to Valenteus, and the elastic band is back again on that, so that's one to keep an eye out for with 8 to go. That could be a final push to the end. But now let's see what Courtaniemi's got. I don't think he's going to be able to catch that 3 seconds, but I feel he'll be able to get away from these cars. But that was unfortunate for Ruiz. He's lost one position. He's not going back any further, though. That's the only good thing.
Mikel Fabela then has retired the car from the race. He's not going to continue on any further. This was the Kevin Verbruggen move. Down the inside, he got the run on Jim Shedlick, and as he hits the brakes and gets the car to dip, no, you've broken a bit too late, sunshine. And he's 1, 2, 3 going all the way by, and he might have a bit of Tom Jones in the ears because he's wishing for the green grass of home to try and keep him out of trouble. This is then Ricardo Ruiz on the flip side of that, heading towards that final corner of Lodge, the last big braking point on circuit. So he dips it down and tries to avoid contact, and ultimately he can't get it slowed up in time. So that's the half hit, and then Kevin Verbruggen just says, look, I lost 3, I'll get one back there, and that was very nicely done to take that position back again.
Yeah, and I think that just goes back to what we were saying earlier. Where's your braking marks? And if you're not finding the reference, you're going to have to make a reference. If you can't make a reference, you're just going to have to improvise, and that's what he was doing there. This is interesting, though. Courtaniemi is unable to really start pulling away from the Ava here, and you've also got Nicola Cocky as well, with then Jorge Nieva. So this is quite interesting because I was wondering, could Topi start to pull ahead? Well, he was a tenth slower last time to Nicola Cocky, so I wonder if this is what he's got now. If he's just going to have to be complacent with a P3, it's not where he would love to be. In fact, apart from last week, he's had seconds and a first all season. This is going to be his second worst result. It's crazy to think a podium is a drop round, but Valenteus has a win as a drop round.
Yeah, and that's the nature of drop rounds. If you do well and you win 12 out of 12, you're only going to count 8 of them over towards the championship. It's not unheard of to see things like this happen. I believe Alain Prost once had a win as a drop round that was part of one of his championships that he put together at McLaren, but Aldrius is not out of the woods here with 7 coming to 6 laps to go because Togo Husada is there just wafting about a second at this moment. So Aldrius is going to have to be astute here because Togo Husada has proven that on certain laps he's got the pace to be at least a 2-3 tenths of a second quicker. On other laps, he's half a second slower.
But he's also got the ability, I feel, that he knows how to get the best out of the car when the tank is starting to get lighter. So if he can work out a nice run with this car getting lighter, he might be able to put some pressure on with 6 to go. Well, he's going to have to find that pressure because where else is he going to really put it on? Valenteus has been known to crack recently under the pressure in these open wheelers, and that's something that we were surprised to see because that is just not something you see in his armor. But again, comes out of Shell Oil's corner. Better response out of Husada. Husada's going to have to play catch-up. He's just in that slipstream, if there is a slipstream, but I think it's too far away to do anything right now.
he's not doing enough, and he knows that around here, only over the top of the hill, are you really going to get the best run, and that's only as you crest it. When you get over the other side, you got nothing left as you go for it. So Togo Hizada realizing that he's got to go, he's got to start trying to charge it down, and he can't do it on straights, and he can't do it the conventional way. He's got to start doing it in the corners. Speaking of the corners, this could be a chance for Nicola Cocchi, but he's going to elect away from it. At a circuit where you've been bottled up all race, you know, do you just accept that you're bottled up here, Craig, or do you start throwing haymakers?
Well, if you're Togo Hizada, you've got to start doing other things. If you're Nicola Cocchi and you've had this lead over Courtenay for most of the race, and now you've got back and you know how you had to defend, well, then you must know how you're going to attack here. So now's the time with 5 to go. You've got to start thinking about haymakers, and look at the gap. 4 seconds up the road are the leaders, so they're out the picture. 6 seconds behind you is the rest of the field. It's Jim Shedlick. I feel that now is the time you've got to start looking about that attack. You've got to start thinking about, where can I send it? We've seen where you can't send it here today, but that doesn't mean it's not doable if you get it right. Gary Ho's also in that same situation. He's just trying to be on the attack on at Aquario, and he's up 2. Jake Garner, he's up 2, Jake. That's an achievement today.
Yeah, +2 is an achievement. Jason Clapper +7 at the moment is also an achievement as he fights Gary Quellin for 14th position. So right now, Jason finds himself with 2 Garys then next to each other. So that's going to be what he eyes up late. You can see just a little wiggle over the bump down in towards Knickerbrook corner and looking for the drive off the exit. We've got another car down in the pits right now, and it is Ricardo Espinaya Martinez who is down there. He's found the barriers out of turn 1, Old Hall corner.
Done that myself once a time before. It is easy when you're trying to attack, because you know you've got a little bit of runoff there, and we're just going to have to wait and see if anybody else is going to do that, because now is that time that you've got to start going aggressive, and I wonder if that's what Jason's doing. Can he just start to put some pressure on Gary? He gets past 1, well, 5 seconds up the road, well, a few seconds up the road is another Gary, so this will be really good for Clapper. He could do the double Gary, but it'd be quite a way away. And look at the different lines here. One's attacking that apex, one's going a little bit wider and late apexing, and that just goes to show what these cars are doing, what the 3D curves are doing now for these drivers. They have to be a little bit more relief, a little bit more responsive, and that's a good run through Cascades, but I don't think he'll be able to do a Courtenay and get the move done through Island.
No, doesn't get the chance then through the island turn, and now looking to try and think about the Shellos corner. It's all about setup here. They are 16 and 15 respectively with their iRatings out there, and Jason Clapper, gets all over the grass off the exit of the Shellos corner. Goodbye run up over the top of the hill. You're not going to see a pass like that one being constructed here as they're heading to 3.5 laps to go, and your leaders are at 3 laps to go. Cocchi looking at Courtenay, looking at Nieva, and right now it's a case of, you know, being in a museum at the moment, it feels like, for these 3, because at the moment for Topi Courtenay, the eyes are following him everywhere he goes, and there's 2 sets of eyes that are there behind that are dead locked in to the back of his head.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be looking for Ben Stiller to help him with some of those there, but I did notice that Jorge had a little bit of a moment, had to get on the opposite lot to fight that car when he cut a bit too much of that curve through Old Hall corner, and that's going to help Nieva a little bit, because that's going to help Cocchi a little bit, sorry, because Nieva's having a bit of a struggle. So now you've got to feel that Cocchi can start attacking Courtenay, and he's trying again. And this isn't helping him, Jake. I'm not telling him how to drive, but he knows that Courtenay, as Jim Shedlick's had a moment, you've got to go wide and go down into the banking to get the speed. He's cutting that corner a bit too much, and he's hugging the apex.
Yeah, Jim Shedlick then just trying to turn in, and the car just snapped away on him. And so by the time he corrected it, he's in the grass and he's got to deal with one position. It's very tough when you go off at the island corner, because you can very easily find the barriers if you're not paying attention. So Shedlick now dropping himself down to 7 and realizing, look, you're still going to have to switch on for the end of this race.
Just because you've got past the first 22 laps don't mean you have to stop for the next 23rd and 24th lap. So you need to just keep the head level here, and what a good name to see back here again. Look how the old drivers are back. The changes, we talked about it before, Jake, have been greatly received on this car, really providing some new sort of driving, new sort of adventures. And well, I never thought I'd be seeing these cars struggle over bumps like they do nowadays, but the suspension changes really giving you that old school feel. And I think Valenteas has got that really secured out there today. Other drivers have been struggling when they come over the bumps.
Yeah, so I think they have been understanding this is pretty much a case of who's going to plant their car properly, and it's shown great driving craft to go and get stuff done at a circuit like this one. I think if you go to a larger circuit out there, it's going to be much more difficult. But Togo Hesada, this is a world-class driver out there throwing everything he can at the wall. And I just have to say it, Craig, Aldrius has just walked away from him. He's not run away because he's not miles in the distance. He's walked away today.
Yeah, and this is Togo Hesada, who's had battles with Valenteas before. Like, these two are pretty level on skill when it comes to this. And Hesada, woo! Oh, he ran over the curb too much there, out of Druid's corner. And we were talking about those 3D curves. The exit ones will catch you when you get on the throttle. 2 seconds to go. Barney's got the white flag. I think that Togo's going to have to do that walking here, Jake. It's not dog walking weather. It's 28 Celsius. But I think he's going to have to get the lead out and start doing some walking because he just needs to get this car home now.
Yeah, final lap here around this Oulton Park circuit, and he realises here as he goes through the cascades that he is 2 seconds down on what he needs. Podium still to be decided, but Nicola Cocchi has the gap that he wants now of 0.4 of a second, so he doesn't have to worry too much about it. He's just got to be poised and controlled in the way that he goes about this. Aldrius Valenteas is having a marquee season. It's not often that you get to see one driver winning so consistently, so dominantly out there in a car. It's not a case often that you find one driver is better than everybody else, and this is a field of all-stars. Hesada's won titles, Cocchi's been close, Nieva has been a nearly man. You've got Tixier, who's been lightning fast in seasons gone by. Hervé Trengaret, he looks at all of them and he says, look, I've got you all beat. You're in my back pocket for what will be the 6th time in 7 races. This has been stellar. The gold standard going multi-platinum again as he will now round the final corner and say, Togo, you've got nothing for me. What a win for Aldrius Valenteas here at Oulton.
Overall broadcast win number 62 for Valenteas, and Courtenay gets that podium. So a little bit of damage limitation here. Tixier will just get ahead of Jim Shedlick. Little bit of a battle at the end there, but Marugan behind Shedlick didn't have nothing left for him. A few more battles left in the field. Zuccario trying to just hold off here. More drivers going. I think Gary Quellin's just had a moment there at the very end. He had just making a mistake through the final corner, trying to attack as much as he can on Jason Clapper, and the car said no.
No, so Gary Quellin had lost the place to Jason Clapper and now trying to fight it back, has seen that position fall away. Last runners then are coming to the line. We will have to wait a bit for Robert Plumley, who will be seeing this one as a nice trip here through the Cheshire Forest out there, and will be making his run over to the line. So just about enough time to say that this race is pretty much in the books. Nobody had a way of stopping number 1 out there here today, and he was on top by some distance by the time the checkered flag was thrown. It was a race of 34 minutes and 44 seconds where he can win by 2.8 in the end over Togo Hesada. Aldrius Valenteas with Topi Courteniemi then rounding out your podium in 3rd place. Nicola Cocchi is 4th ahead of Jorge Nieva, with Seb Tixier doing well to jump 4 today up into that 6th place, as Jim Shedlick and Kevin Verbruchen are 7th and 8th. Ricardo Ruiz had his own tiny half spin. That puts him 9th, and Hervé Trengaret a torrid day in 10th.
Lars Stolson started 11th. He'll finish 11th, and Leo Zucchero will go into 12th. Gary Ho goes into the unlucky 13th, and Jason Clapper made up 8 places from the back of the field to 14th. Then it's Gary Quellen in 15th, and Glenn Becker falls down 4 to 16th. John Olsen will be 17th, and Ilka Costa-Salo 18th. Pedro Talamdri will be in 19th. Josephine Becker will be 20th, and just 3 more names as Robert Plumley found a place to park up after the race in 21st. Martinez was the second retiree in 22nd. Zabala, first retiree, out in 23rd.
Well, it goes to show you today that this has been a hard-fought race, and hard-fought in the sense that everyone has pretty much found the line except for just a couple. We are going to get the chance to chat with a couple of drivers. Nicola Cocchi is here with us right now. Nicola, I'm sure you're going to be a bucket of sweat after this one. The amount of work you had to do to try and hold Toppy back ultimately didn't quite manage to make it work.
Yeah, bucket of sweat, I think it's the best way to describe my condition right now. It was, I think it was, from my side, not a very spectacular race, but it was super hard racing, very fair, incredibly fast pace. And for me, it was a pleasure to be able to fight the whole race with Toppy and the other guy. That's pure bliss for me.
Talk about dealing with these grooved tyres, the changes to the car, and these raised curbs around Oulton Park, because it's clear that nobody was really wanting to touch the curbs too much for fear that you're just going to get spat out around here.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with the curbs on this track. I don't even know if it's the same for all the cars, but I can assure you that with the 49, it's something is weird, because okay, there is 3D curbs and whatever, but every time that you go on it, the car start behaving very, very weirdly. Sometimes you are going to be tracked, attract from the outside. Sometimes the rear tires are no longer touching the ground, so you spin on the other side. It's every time that you go on it, it looks like it is some kind of anti-gravity curb. The car not want to stay on the track anymore. And on this track in general, the car is it's so much in the air. It's almost like piloting an airplane, not a car, because the car it's always like jumping and jumping and jumping with all the bumps, all the jumps. And you have to be a little bit of a rallycross driver to be able to be fast here. So many blind corners as well. So you really have to put 110% of your focus and your effort to be able to finish one race here.
So when you're done dealing with your Microsoft Flight Simulator, how does Adelaide sound next week? Are you feeling confident heading to a street circuit?
I think I like street circuit, or at least I don't hate it, but I really don't know anything about Adelaide. I've never been there, so I will have to learn the track and at the same time be fast on it. So I think it's going to be a big challenge for me, but I'm happy to be able to race next Saturday, and I hope to see you all you guys there.
Well, we hope to see you there as well, Nicola, and see some amazing racing. 4th place today for him as Craig King has walked down the virtual paddock. He's found the driver who has finished off in 3rd position today, Toppy Courtaniemi.
Yeah, Toppy, wasn't the best of qualifying for you today. Going up 3 places, got to be an achievement. It looks like this is tougher than normal to find an overtaking spot at Oulton Park today.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, if Nick hadn't made any mistakes, I wouldn't be able to make any move, to be honest.
No, it was basically, we saw you a couple times trying to do the island and always a bit tough. I think even at one point was side by side through Knickerbrook and the Clay Hill. You had to back out, but it feels like with these new changes, correct me if I'm wrong, Toppy, these new changes to the car, the bumps on this old school national circuit, really making the cars fight a little bit more here. We saw a lot of drivers having to do a lot of adjustments, more than normal. Am I right there?
I think you're right. I mean, the tires have less grip, so when you're half airborne, they're going to have 0 to very little grip. And the top of the hill on the back straight, it was really sketchy. There's one line that is better than the other, but I wasn't sure what would happen if I took the line on the right. I hadn't tried it yet before the race.
Oh, all right. I've got to talk because championship. This is the podium. Another podium. You didn't have a good race last week. Still trying to catch up to Valenteus. Next week you go to Adelaide. You already have history here. Not in terms of one another. 79s have been here. Other series have been here. You know the car. You know the track. It's going to be another bumpy day out there at Adelaide. What are your thoughts going into that race when you're still trying to catch up to the gold standard?
I haven't done a single lap in Adelaide yet, so I think I'm going to just take my Long Beach setup and just flat out.
It's going to be a long day, definitely. It won't be at Long Beach, but it will be at Adelaide. Toby, I think you might be heading over to the sauna for a little bit of a rest now. I think you deserve it after that. We look forward to seeing you next week at Adelaide.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
Toby Koronemi, who finished in third today, and it's only fitting that one more driver who turns up. Jake, you're alongside P2, Togo Hisada.
Very much. Togo, kyo Audrius wa kimi no moto o sate shimatta. Kuni dekiru koto wa honton do nakatadoro?
Yeah, pretty much. I push all ups, but slightly, Audrius is faster than me today.
Yeah, not much to deal with. I pretty much said Aldris walked away from you there. Not much you could have done today, was there? But ultimately, you said it was a pleasure to follow him around. You got within a second and you were in and around 4 tenths, 5 tenths, and it was 7 tenths, 8 tenths. And then ultimately in the final 3 laps, it just spiraled out there. So consolidating that second place?
Yeah, but, I'm still struggling with setup things, yeah, I like a lot of America. Today is also, I have a strange understeer towards the end, especially the last 5 laps. Still, searching, still trying about the new car, new setups, and it's pretty happy because last time I raced with front runners with Adrius and Topi was the round 2 of the battles, so maybe the bumpy tracks I found a little bit better balance, but it's still not perfect. And yeah, it's very fun to searching. It's very fun to making and adjusting a new car. It's this whole process is really fun.
And so with that process, you head to a street circuit next up in Adelaide, which, has the traditional street circuit style corners, but has that long straight run over to the Decaturville hairpin. Do you think that that's going to be a circuit that maybe trips up more than most? Or do you feel like that as far as how you're going about your racing, you think that you're going to have a really good shot of things in 7 days?
I think that the loose setup is fast with these small corners street circuit, and that means the top is the best with loose setups. I'm looking forward to it, but because it's the first time a city circuit with this new car, new tires, so a setups could be very very different. So it could be a challenge for us. And it's maybe overtaking chance is still there. I think with this car we can cut the curves more aggressively than the other cars. I think so. It could be a very interesting one in 7 days.
Well, we will wish you the best of luck. We call him as well Hasuno Kote, the Emperor of the Lotus. Togo Hisada, along with a second position out there overall. And that will bring proceedings to a close here from Oulton Park. A massive thanks to the team who has brought this show over to you, from Craig King, from Daniel Costello, and from Dougie Beard. Next time we are with you, it will be in 7 days' time in terms of this Grand Prix Legend Series. We will be at the Adelaide Street Circuit. You can catch that at 1:30 UTC, 9:30 Eastern on May 9th as part of a Genesis Extreme production as we go through some of the most fabled streets in all of Australasia. On top of that, you've got more coming along with your series is here, as we got 2 trips to Miami, one in a couple hours over at 5 o'clock, as you can jump in and see that for the IMSA Vintage Series. You've also got the Porsche Owners Club, which is in to play at Miami. That will be going along Monday or Tuesday, depending on where you are in the world. Classic Lotuses on Sunday for the Grand Prix Series. For the 79s is at Thruxton, which will be a high-speed thrill ride. And then the Skip Barbers are going to a circuit which is a tale as old as time. Charlotte Roval will be in on the docket for them. So make sure that you join in, do all the great YouTube things, like, share, subscribe. There is one thing that is being very certain here in the Lotus 49s, and that is with a brand new car, it favors certain styles of driving to others. If you've got all the fundamentals together and you know that you've got to work the way to get a car going forward, it's going to be very tough to find yourself anywhere but P1. And the best of the best are throwing themselves at it, saying, look, we've got to make it stick. But nobody is really finding a way to make Aldrius Valenterius look anywhere else but P1. It's a case of 6 and 7 for him, and he knows this is no mean fever dream. He is right on top. Nobody can challenge him at the moment, but will the street circuit say to differ otherwise as we head to Adelaide in 7?
This is iRacing.